This week, I interviewed two teachers at Fukuoka International School in order to learn about the way they plan their lessons. For this interview, I chose Mrs. Nirupama Karkanes, the art teacher for my second grade students, and also Mr. Vincent Lihan, our PYP coordinator and also my mentor. This video presents a summary of their answers and also my personal reflections on the planning process. I asked my colleagues how often they plan lessons and whether they plan them in chunks or one at a time. Mrs. Nirupama says that planning is ongoing and it depends on the project she wants students to complete. Mr. Lihan says that he plans 2 or 3 days at a time for his PYP lessons and one lesson at a time for language or maths. However, Mr. Lihan says that one lesson can take more than one class and the plan will be adjusted. Mrs. Karkanis plans her lessons very early because she needs to make sure she has the materials necessary for the projects. Mr. Lihan uses the units of inquiry, which give him an outline of 6 to 7 weeks of teaching. He also plans lessons a week in advance, but adjusts his daily plans according to needs. In what concerns their preferred planning template, Mr. Lihan says that his lessons always have three body parts: introduction, body, and assessment. Mrs. Karkanis uses the rough outline given by the program of inquiry. When planning her lessons, Mrs. Karkanis has the objective in mind. She also thinks about our lines of inquiry and the key concepts. Mr. Lihan thinks about assessment first. More importantly, he thinks about the skills students need to master. I also asked my two colleagues about the documents they consult when they plan their lessons. They both look at unit overviews, units of inquiry, and Miss Kay, the art teacher, also consults her art standards and concepts. When planning the lessons, classroom teachers collaborate with specialists during Wednesday meetings. Mr. Lihan also talks about the need for vertical planning, where teachers from different grade levels exchange ideas and make sure there's continuity in the topics and skills we teach our students. Both teachers consider differentiation an important part in the learning process. Mr. Lihan talks about the high ELL population we have at our school and the high need for teachers to adapt their lessons to meet their students' needs. We also have gifted students that need enrichment. Mr. Lihan states that enrichment does not mean more work, it actually means stretching the mind of the students. Both teachers use technology in their lessons. However, it depends on the topic, and technology does not have to drive every lesson. Mr. Lihan says that technology needs to be accessible to all students at all times, though. In what concerns assessment, in art, students have several smaller summative assessments, while Mr. Lihan plans a big summative assessment that goes with the unit of inquiry. He also has lots of formative assessments. In math and language, Mr. Lihan also plans several smaller summative assessments. Both teachers reflect on the effectiveness of their lesson plans. The art teacher writes down her reflections to know what to change and what to keep the same next time she teaches the unit. Mr. Lihan reflects after every lesson, but he also asks the students to reflect on those lessons and give him feedback. Also, both teachers plan enrichment and remediation after reflecting on the effectiveness of the lesson plan. Now, my personal reflections on the planning process. So, after talking to the two teachers, I reached the following conclusions. Lesson planning is vital in the life of a teacher. However, teachers don't always stick to the lesson plan. Lessons need to be adjusted according to need and as you go or on the fly. Lesson planning involves a great deal of collaboration between classroom teachers and specialists, and also, as Mr. Lihan says, there should be some vertical collaboration just for us to make sure we continue our students' education and it's not interrupted. Okay. Um, I also need to say that differentiation is needed in order to meet all the students' needs. And one more idea that I got from interviewing the two teachers is that when dealing with students that need enrichment, I should not be giving them more work. I should try to give them activities that actually stretch their thinking. That's it.